Hello, I want to thank you for joining us for today's session entitled Process Innovation in the Lab of the Future. Augmented reality revolutionizes the way labs work. It's presented by Holofur Labs, and we can go ahead and go to the next slide. Before we get into the presentation today, I want to tell you a little bit about Astrix Technology, who we are, why we're sponsoring this series of webinars with great thought leaders in the industry, such as our presenter today. First and foremost, we're an informatics professional services as well as a strategic outsourced solutions company that is 100% dedicated to serving the scientific community. A couple of quick statistics about Astrix. We were established in 1995 and are privately held. It originated as the IT division of a company called APBI Life Sciences. Today we operate from 7 offices in the United States and beautiful Costa Rica, and our headquarters are in Red Bank, New Jersey. We work predominantly with Fortune 1000 life science enterprises, chemical, CPG, government, and research institutions. Generally speaking, all with large and fast-growing IT and outsourced compliance needs, and our mission always will be to deliver scalable, sustainable solutions for the scientific community. We can go to the next slide, please. Before I introduce our speaker, in terms of where Astrix works in relation to scientific data systems, and we're looking at one of those systems today, we provide an end-to-end service that span the whole life cycle of acquiring and managing and maintaining these data systems. And that starts with the work we do helping companies to determine what type of solutions they need in the first place. That's going to be helping you do business process analysis and then enterprise architecture design. We help to figure out what you need based on your unique laboratory needs. And then we architect out the type of technology stack that you're going to require. From there, we can actually help you select systems and then even do development and implementation of those systems. And when we're finished that, we can then do computer systems validation. Once that part is done, we can do complete, managed services of them, manage those systems, upgrade those systems, do training on those systems, etc. And then finally, we can even staff personnel, both for those systems as well as just general laboratory staff and laboratory personnel as well. Next slide, please. So that's a little bit about Astrix. I'd like to now introduce, I'm just going to go with the name that you told me to go with, and it's Zdeněk, and I'll let you go with the full name, Zdeněk. Zdeněk is the CEO at Holofur Labs, and we're thrilled to have him. He leads for over 20 years, has been working at transforming businesses using new technologies, strategic thinking, open-minded, creative approaches. He successfully implemented innovations with large recipients of technology from big pharma to banks to Industry 4.0 companies throughout Europe and the United States. We're thrilled to have him. Zdeněk, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to you to take it from here, and I'll come back on at the end.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. Yes, my name is Przemysław Budnicki, but Przemek is quite usual to say. So, yeah, it's right. I am the CEO of Holofur Labs, and Holofur Labs is, we like to call ourselves a revolution, but in fact, from time to time, we can meet some kind of changes in the way that we can work that are really, really doing the job, doing the revolution. And what you can see in mixed reality that we use to support laboratories processes in the laboratories, that's exactly the thing. As you heard, I'm more than 20 years in innovations and using IT stuff to make a good efficiencies in the improvement of inefficiencies in the business. But probably the mixed reality is one of the biggest one. And I'm working with the mixed reality for about 5 years. And as you probably know, the biggest usage of mixed reality is already happening in the industry and in the military area. And right now, it is the highest time for the laboratories itself. So would like to tell you just the simple things about why it is a good stuff and a good stuff for the laboratories and what we are doing. Holofur Labs is using mixed reality as a tool to support everyday job in every kind of a laboratory, which means that we really like to be very close to the very heart of the laboratories, the samples, procedures, methods, workbench, and to support all the digitalization processes that you would like to have digitalized. So in fact, it means probably all of them. It would be great, or most of them, when we're talking about the collecting data and entering data, analyzing data, that you would like to have it digitalized. But before I tell you a little bit more about what is the change that mixed reality brings to laboratories, I would like to just mention very briefly a difference between virtual and augmented reality. You probably seen a part of this, or maybe even more than part, but just for not everybody can be familiar with that. So I would like to briefly tell you about why mixed reality and augmented reality is different than virtual reality. It's not like we can say it's better. Virtual reality is great for gaming. It's also quite good for different kinds of trainings that you can provide with for your employees. But it really does not work when you're on the workbench in the factory and you have to do the job on your place. Then the only thing that is working, it's augmenting the information and graphics on your context of work. So you can, for example, the simplest augmented reality, as you can imagine, is a Pokemon. That was the very, very good job that was done by the game. But that was the first usage of that of the augmented reality. But in fact, what we are doing right now, it's more than just augmenting information on your screen, on your eyes. It's using different ways of communication. So one person can use the laptop, the other one can use the goggles with the virtual reality, and the third one can use glasses with augmented reality, and they all work together. But it's even much more deeper. We can use the information that are in the cloud. We can use processing in the cloud. We can use mixed machine learning, special anchoring. We can build dynamic digital twins, etc. So we can do a lot of job. And as I told you, the astonishing applications of mixed reality we can see in Industry 4.0, especially in automotive and aerospace. So last year, Toyota ordered like 16,000 of the Hololenses. That is the hardware that we use. The BMW equipped all the service net within the United States into the Hololenses that help mechanics to execute service procedures on the cars. But the blast was the contract from U.S. Army, which started very slow at $280 million last year, and they made proof of concept for SWAT teams. And just last week, we heard that U.S. Army signed a contract for delivery of 120,000 HoloLenses for next 3 years. So it's $21 billion deal. Why I'm saying this? It's because the same situation is happening now in the laboratory space. The same procedures, the same way of operating is just getting into the laboratories, and that's what Holofur Labs is doing. There's just I'm not sure if you can see the movie, so maybe I can skip that one because it's the bandwidth might be not too good to you. So what we listen is it's the needs of your industry, of life science industry, and they, like everyone, you need, and our customers are looking for the bigger effectiveness, for better safety for their employees, for more agility. Especially that's something that almost every laboratory, chemical laboratory, felt very much during the pandemic times, when they, for example, during the few weeks they had to change half of the team and retrain them to for example, make the coronavirus procedures, and part of that they had to make a remote, and all of that elements we address with Holofur Labs. And in fact, it's not like we are the pandemic tool. We were ready with our product at the beginning of the last year. That's when we launched the Holofur Labs to sell. So we were working on that solution for more than 3 years now. So it is not like MVP. We're having very well and very mature product. What problems do we solve? You probably could see that different laboratories have quite similar way of problems and quite similar organization part. I mean, every laboratory lives with the sample and then with the method procedure that is executed on the sample. And to do that, the digitalization and connecting what is being done on the workbench have to be connected somehow with some kind of proprietary system. Usually, we can say that the LIMS system is probably the best solution, and that's what we have found with implementation of LIMS systems for more than 6 years, as we have the sister company which is called Holofur Labs implementing implementing LIMS system from Thermo Fisher, and one of the biggest partner of Thermo Fisher in the CE. And that's how we were listening of the ways and the places where the mixed reality implementation and how we can use the mixed reality solutions to boost the processes and some unique and specific elements. Because of course, mixed reality is not it's not a solution for everything. You know, there are ways and there are places when it's better or faster to use a laptop, but not always. When you have a workbench, when you want to spare the place on the workbench, it's not so good to do it. It's not too good to go paper and write down the information and then rewrote it to the laptop or to the system. It's just not a good way or not efficient way to work. Yeah, as you know, probably about 70% of job that is done by scientists is done on the documentation and paperwork, which sucks, in fact. So we are changing that. As I said, we try to support every day job in the laboratory and every kind of use case. But of course, there are probably thousands of use cases that we never heard of, and we didn't implement it so far. But we have a tool that we can take the procedure, your procedure, and put it into our system and just make it work. What we support? We support, for example, maybe before I say it, I will tell you one very important element, which is probably crucial for the technology itself. Maybe first I start with some kind of example. 5 or 6 years ago, when you were using a smartphone, you probably remember that the application was not too good, where they were not intuitive, they were not working as we would like it to work, and it was just not convenient. And at the moment, we have the applications, banking accounts, Teams, etc., all in one mobile piece of hardware. So just give me a second. I will put on the energy to the lab, and so that was the change. And in the same situation was made in mixed reality. We were waiting for the tools good enough to be intuitive, high quality, and also comfortable to wear. And what we add when we get this, and the hardware is called Microsoft Hololens 2. We just had to add a great, simple to use application. As you can see here, with very simple menu. On the left side is a simple button menu with my tasks to show the screen. I'll just show that you in a minute in details. My tasks of the scientist, samples list, and procedures list. We also have a tools that support the work in the laboratory. It can be a calculator or stopwatch, but we also use OCR methods that support non-IoT equipment that can give information they digitalize directly to your systems. What else? Video support. 2 clicks, and with Holofur Labs, you're linked through the, for example, Microsoft Teams to your peers. It's the same way it works with the auditing issues or recording issues. We help to calibrate and maintain instruments, and we help to also make the trainings with the 3D models. That's the right side of the menu. It's very simple, very intuitive, not many options, etc. Just click and it works. So what we do, we screen, for example, mic tasks. We can use this mic task list connected to the person or team of the persons or the place within the lab. It depends on how you have this organized in your structure. And a very important element that I would like to also mention is that we are not a next source of truth. We are taking all the information from the proprietary system, from the kind of like this LIMS system, and we just read the information from the LIMS system and write it there into these databases. So we don't have to be another solution, another environment that you have to maintain. Not at all. The Holofur Labs, it's no coding, it's just almost plug and play, it's working. So we can show this task list to the right people. We can, of course, also, while we have a sample, we can show the procedures and how to execute the procedure. And this is a huge element for that. And what I can say is today we don't have too much time to go into details, but this is probably the most sexiest thing that we have. It's that we can guide people just step by step through the procedures, but we can also understand what they are doing. We can help them to navigate with the voice. So if you use Holofur Labs, you just say, when you see the icon with the microphone, you just say next step, and the system goes to the next step. So if you want to set the value, you just set value 1, and it's done. So this kind of interaction, it really makes a great pressure and a great impression. And it's great when you're, for example, working in the full biological suit, and you don't even want to, for example, use your fingers to virtually click these buttons. It's astonishing how good this technology is at the moment. And of course, when we get through the procedures, there may be many steps. So you know that lots of scientists, they, for example, print the procedures because it's too long to remember. With us, you don't have to do it. You just take the procedure or the PDF and you just throw it to the wall, and it sticks to the wall. So you can have the procedure or the information or the schemas on the wall just in front of you while you are working. So this is something which is really unique. And many of the scientists just love this stuff. What we also can support is management of the devices, and we also can understand the device and help them to manage this device, or for example to calibrate the instruments. But we can easily document the whole process, for example, of the check, the morning check or the weekly check in the laboratory. So when you, for example, have to get through the whole laboratory and just write down in some kind of paper or the tablet, for example, the temperature from the refrigerators, etc., it's kind of manually and not automated job. With Holofur Labs, you just put on the glasses, you get through the lab, you take a look on the refrigerator, we scan the QR code, click, we understand which refrigerator is this. Then you look at the LCD display, and our system understands the exact number, the number of the degrees, for example, on the LCD, and checks it and put it into the system. So you have everything recorded, for example, for the audit purposes, and you do it like 3 times faster. It's great. As I told you, we are also supporting calibration of the instruments. We, as you can see here at the picture, we stick the QR code on the equipment, and it's then identified with this way. And in the same way, as I told you about the refrigerator, we can also use these instruments, which are not IoT connected, to look at, for example, as you can see here, to look at the screen the LCD, and then we can read exact the number, parameters, weight of any other parameter, and then put it into your system. It's very, very convenient. And what else we support? Searching the samples. Similarly, you go to your warehouse, get to the refrigerator. We understand which refrigerator is this, what shelf, container, and the sample on the container is. We can highlight it. We can record it. One of our customers from Austria, for example, is using a lot of drugs, so they want to record every step when they take off and the substance, and they put it back. So that works also quite well. And something which is very, very important, and many of the customers reported to us is as a key issue, is auditing and remote cooperation. With Holofur Labs, you just make 2 clicks, and you can link, or you can just go to this link to someone on the Teams, but you can also connect to the auditor, to the external auditor. And what is the difference between just the camera? With camera, the auditor could see only the view, yeah, of the person. But here we screen all the contextual information. So we record every step of the procedures with the information shown on the screen. So it means that it can automatically be recorded for the audit purposes on both sides. Very effective and very less cost-effective way of doing the audits. That's more or less most of the things, of the functionalities that we can do. What are the usages right now? For example, one of our use cases is helping chemical labs to fill in the plates. So as they are using the pipettes or multi-channel pipettes, we are showing them information on the pipette that on the plate that is on the workbench, and then we can highlight the next steps or show them next steps, and we can understand which steps have been done. We can read, for example, data from the electronic pipettes. That works quite well. What we also work on is, for example, integration with the scanners, RFID scanners, that can read the tags from the animals. So, for example, if you are doing cancer research and you make some methods using animals, mouses, or the others, they usually use the ear tags or the RFID tags. So we also are helping to identify the right animal and automate all the process of weighing and check of that animal. So this use cases I brought to you because I wanted to show you that the spectrum of usage of the Holofur Labs is really, really astonishing and great. So Holofur Labs, it's a ready-to-use tool, and I'm not sure if the movie will start. Probably yes. Let's put it on. This is a very simple, short movie, just 40 seconds on how the Holofur Labs is working. If it won't start, don't worry. I will put a link to the chat probably later, and you can see this on our YouTube channel. This is most of the functionalities that they showed you, but this is how it really works and how you can use the system. With Holofur Labs, for sure, it's good to be integrated with the processes, to have less errors, go paperless, and be much more cost-effective. If you would like to see what is important, what you have seen on this short demo is that we are showing our system live. We don't use mockups. Usually, we just log into our cloud LIMS server. We put on the Hololens and show the procedure. So if you will be interested in kind of a demo, live demo, just contact me. It will be a great pleasure for me and my team to show you exactly how we work. Okay, so what I can just to maybe summarize, what exactly do we sell? What does it mean, Holofur Labs? What would you need to buy if you would like to start this I think very interesting journey with the new technology? It's very simple. We sell glasses, which is a Microsoft hardware. They call it Hololens 2. And what's very important, Hololens is right now in two versions. One, the standard, and the second is ready for the clean room with the right attest. So even if you have a clean room, it's going to be ready at the market from the beginning of May. We sell software licenses and of course individual match. So our customers needs some kind of attention. Every customer works in a different way. They have the different procedures, etc. So that's how we, of course, add some our technical expertise into that mixture. And we also support you with a training, which is very fast, as the system is really very intuitive. Okay, so what I wanted just to mention to you, because mixed reality is quite new, and many customers, especially when we are talking about the laboratories and life science, which is usually the business is not very, I would say not, it's very innovative, but also in some way doesn't runs very fast with the novelties of the technology. So we, as I said, we started to work on our solution more than 3 years ago, and right now after start we are being quite well rewarded and recognized with many awards. But what is very nice for us, we are the only company that was mentioned with the external links on the Thermo Fisher scientific blog, which, as I mentioned, is a partner of Holofur Labs, our sister company, and where probably all our journey with mixed reality started. For us, it's a very important issue and very important cooperation also. So just to summarize before your question, which I would be delighted to answer, is that what is important while you're talking about mixed reality and using mixed reality for your usage is having an integration for sure, understanding how to make laboratory methods and processes more effective if you need it. That's a good point to start. Less wastage, which is a great stuff for every chemical laboratory using, for example, plates. According to the researchers, between 19 and 25% of the samples is being wasted, and you have to just even pay more money to get rid of it. So, or if you are feeling the need to work remotely, use of the remote assist and work safer, we are probably a good point to just start to talk and even not to sell, because what is the greatest pleasure for me is just to be in contact with you and with laboratories and to learn from many use cases and to understand how we can make serve better to our customers. That's really a great thing to us. So thank you very much for that, and I hope you will have some questions too.
Thank you, Przemek. That was great. That's really cool technology. I think you would make Tony Stark proud. So that's really cool to watch. Yes, there are a few questions, so let me go ahead and get a couple of these opened up here real quick. Okay, the one question that came up right at the beginning was, do I have to use a LIMS to improve processes with mixed reality?
Not exactly. It's good to have a LIMS. Why? It's because if you have this kind of solution, usually you can use a laboratory execution system, which is kind of a procedure automator, and it's quite easier. But if you don't use LIMS, we can also use just a result entry, which is also a good way to go into the digitalization. We also have the result entry functionality. You can use our solution. We also help you to prepare the procedures. Yeah, especially this is a great case with this plates that I mentioned, because then you don't need to LIMS to for example design the new way of pipetting the samples and the plates. So you don't have to have LIMS, but what you would like to have, it's some kind of somehow integration of the data that is the outcome of the method. So that's what we also do. So yeah, no, you don't have to have a LIMS.
Right, great. Appreciate that. And a follow-up question to that was, can it be used in a clean room?
Yes. Microsoft just this year issued a great version, a new version of the Hololens, which is ready, clean room ready. It has the right certificates, and also it comes with the very nice option of very rapid exchange. So if anything happens to the equipment, they just send another one. And the price of the Hololens, which I didn't mention, it's also quite reasonable, because the normal version costs $3,500, and the clean room version is $5,000 or euro. It depends where are you, which seems to be a really reasonable price for this kind of equipment.
Okay, great.
The answer is yes, definitely yes.
Okay, cool. All right, a couple of other ones here. Let me see. Does this work with Labware, the vendor Labware?
We are not directly at the moment. We are not integrated with Labware. We have few customers that use Labwares, and yeah, we are also working on the integration.
Okay.
So the short answer would be, of course, we will work with Labware. The longer version would be that it's always important to understand what is your implementation of Labware, and it would be great for us to just get a little bit go deeper into this detail and to answer this question. But yes, we aim for each of the leading LIMS manufacturers, and we attach the integration to the systems one by one. So Labware is on our short list.
Gotcha. Okay, great. And that actually answered another question too about adding equipment. And if you want to expand on, like, what is your process for adding equipment to your library of supported equipment?
Oh, that's a good question, because it depends a little bit on how your laboratory is organized. Because if you are using, if you add the equipment somehow, if we talk about IoT equipment, if you add the IoT equipment to your system, somehow integrating, so you have the information from that into the system. So we will just use this information and exchange it. Yeah. But if you don't have it, then of course we will be collecting the data from the instruments. So we will use our own integration hub, and then we will pass this information to your system. So it's a different way of approaching to the architecture. What I would like to tell you that is what is the most astonishing, or maybe the one of the functionalities that resonated very much in most of our customers' cases, is that there is a lot of non-IoT equipment, and that's a pain, real pain for many customers. And most of laboratories will not exchange all of their equipment within the next 10 years. So it's great stuff if you have a very simple, in fact, equipment to make it IoT connected. Yeah, it's just, you can think about it like if you have a telephone, the mobile, and you just take the mobile out from your pocket, direct it into the LCD screen, and then the information from the LCD screen is in your system. So it's probably so easy. But the problem with the tablets and with the mobiles is that you have hands occupied, Yeah, and Hololens give you the freedom with operating with both hands ready. So that's probably a great thing to think about.
Great. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and wrap up. There are a few questions we may not have been able to get to, and I apologize for that, but what we'll do is we will go through any remaining questions and do some direct outreach on those to make sure we get your question answered if we didn't get to it. So first and foremost, I want to thank Zdenek from Holofur Labs. It's really, really cool technology. It's difficult sometimes to see this technology in a PowerPoint presentation, but we have to account for speed and everything else when we have people coming in from multiple countries into one presentation. So this is the type of thing that I know people are going to want to see demos of. So by all means, we can help facilitate seeing that in a more live environment. Zdenek, if you want to leave any parting words before we go ahead and wrap up.
But